Bill Gates, co-founder of Microsoft. Elon Musk, founder of SpaceX and Tesla.
Yes!
Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon.
Yo, Jeff Bezos.
Richard Branson, founder of the Virgin Group. And countless innovators, creators, and leaders around the world. Well, let me ask you something simple. What is the one thing all of them avoided? You might say, they are rich, powerful world changers.
$600 billion, that's Elon Musk's net worth, one man's net worth, $600 billion. No individual has ever reached this level.
Yes, that's true. But there's something even bigger, something nobody talks about. All of them escaped a trap that billions of people proudly walk into every day, thinking it's the only path to success.
They don't want us to learn about money because they just want to pump out good employees that do what they're told. I mean, Prussian said, this is not the exact quote, but something to the effect of, if you're not facing something you fear every day, you don't understand the secret of life.
So let me ask you another question. What is that trap? It's the trap that silently controls what you believe about. Education, work, money, success, and even your self-worth. It's the trap that whispers, I just need a degree, and then my future will be safe.
And we still tell kids to go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, and get out of debt. Now, who tells them to do that? That's the most ridiculous thing there is.
But is it really true? And it always starts small, with a tiny fear.
I am not going to put my children into a system that doesn't understand the gifts and abilities they have just because they don't fit on the conveyor belt.
There's no need even to have a college degree at all, or even high school.
A big secret today, and that secret is this. What if I told you that every single day kids go to school, they become less intelligent?
And in the US, there are more than 5 lakh people who don't send their children to school. Ironically, mostly all teachers, because they know how screwed up the system is.
So I think people come out of school paralyzed. I think the school system is criminal in that it kills a child's spirit of learning.
And on the other side, there's you. Maybe you're in college right now, submitting assignments, maintaining attendance, memorizing books you don't care about, following rules you don't understand. And why? Because you're told, get a degree, then a job, then a house, then a car, then marriage, then kids in good schools, and then the money will come. So let me ask one last simple question. Is this really the path to success, or just the path everyone is forced to follow? You spend 15 years studying, late nights, assignments, exams, pressure. Finally, you get that graduation degree, and then reality hits you like a brick. No job, endless interviews, endless rejections. You start hearing the same lines everywhere. We'll get back to you. You're not the right fit. You don't have enough experience. And slowly, people around you change. Their tone changes. Their eyes change. Relatives stop calling. Friends stop asking. Family starts comparing. And you stop meeting people altogether. You lock yourself inside your room. Break down at 2 a.m., cry quietly so no one hears. And you pray, not for success, not for fame, just for one job. And with every rejection, your confidence shrinks, your self-worth fades, your dreams dissolve. But one day, somehow, you finally get a job. But the salary? Barely enough to survive. But what can you do? You have no choice. So you take a home loan, because society told you that owning a house means stability. And then a car loan, because society told you that a house without a car looks incomplete. And without realizing it, you've wrapped chains around yourself. From every direction, now you're trapped. You can't quit your job, because how will you pay the EMIs? Home loan, car loan, bills, groceries, your kids' school fees, your dreams? They slowly get buried under responsibilities. Every morning becomes a silent routine. Wake up, work, sleep, repeat. And one day, it all starts to feel normal. You get older and tell yourself, maybe I was just unlucky. Maybe success wasn't meant for me. But the truth is far more disturbing. This was never about luck. This was engineered, planned, designed. There was a group, governments, industrialists, economists, who sat together and decided, this is what people should learn. This is how they should learn it. This is the path they should follow.
1894, the Gang of Nine got together, I think it was, and decided this is what people should learn. Physics, biology, chemistry, and this is how they should learn.
And just like the newspaper empires, the more buildings they built, the more students they trapped, the more money they made.
It's like the newspaper industry, right? More printing presses, more big buildings, right? Makes us look grander.
The purpose wasn't to empower you. It was to break your will.
The entire purpose of a good university is to give you a foundation to fail, not a foundation to get an A.
Because the people who built the schools were consciously aiming at eradicating the will of the students who were part of the system because they wanted them to be obedient.
And kids come out of college, the best colleges, Wharton and Harvard and Stanford and some of the great business schools, and they'll come out and they won't have practical experience.
To make you obedient, to make you predictable, to make you interchangeable. Because obedient people don't start revolutions. Obedient people don't question systems. Obedient people don't chase their own dreams. They chase someone else's dream. A real university should teach you how to fail, how to experiment, how to think independently.
I mean, if you look at school, it's opposite of what it takes to be successful in real life. Don't make a mistake.
But this system, it punishes failure. It rewards memorization. It glorifies obedience.
Nothing wrong with it. If you want to be a doctor, lawyer, dentist, you got to go to school. But if you want to be successful, what you're supposed to do? You have to develop the principles of success. School teaches you how to memorize stuff. We're going to test you on it, and you recall what you've read, and we're going to give you a grade on it.
And that's why, even after 15 years of schooling, billions of people feel lost, confused, scared. Not because they are weak, but because the system was never designed for them to win.
Albert Einstein once said, everybody's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid.
Sound crazy, right? Give me a few more minutes, and this trap will become so clear. You'll wonder how you never saw it before. So, are you coming with me?
A lot of kids just in school kind of puzzled as to why they're there.
Let me take you back to a moment that changed the entire world, without most people ever realizing it. In 1806, a war broke out between Napoleon's army and Prussia, a nation famous for having one of the strongest, most disciplined armies on earth. But something shocking happened. Prussia lost. Not a close loss, a devastating one. The Prussian leaders were stunned. How could an elite army, an army trained, armed, and feared, fall so easily? And after days of confusion, after analyzing every battle, every strategy, they found a real reason. It wasn't weakness. It wasn't weapons. It wasn't numbers. It was something far more human. The soldiers were thinking for themselves. Instead of following orders blindly, they were making independent decisions on the battlefield, and that cost them the war. Napoleon's army, on the other hand, followed one man's commands without a single question. And the result? Prussia lost half its territory and was forced to bow down to Napoleon. But that defeat triggered something. A fear, a realization, a mission. The Prussian leaders said, this must never happen again. But the question was, how do you create a society where every soldier, every citizen, every worker obeys without hesitation? They brainstormed for months, and finally, they found the perfect solution. Not by controlling adults, not by rewriting laws, but by reshaping children. Because young minds don't resist. Young minds don't question. Young minds absorb whatever you call truth. And so, they created a system the world would someday copy blindly. It was called the Prussian education system. An 8-year mandatory schooling program from ages 5 to 13. And the purpose? Not creativity, not innovation, not self-discovery, but something far more mechanical. To manufacture obedient citizens. To condition children to follow orders. To make the next generation predictable, compliant, and controllable. That's why historians say Prussia introduced universal schooling to protect its military power by producing citizens who would follow commands without question.
Prussians introduced a universal education system in the late 1800s because they were afraid they were losing military superiority, and they wanted to produce a cadre of mindless, obedient soldiers. That was expressly the purpose.
And in schools, the design matched the agenda. Strict schedules, bells controlling every movement, memorization over thinking, uniform rows of desks, teachers acting as authority figures, punishment for questioning, rewards for obedience.
20th century school. And a 20th century school conditioned you on how to learn in a passive way. The bell rang. When the bell rang, what are you supposed to do? Report to your position, your desk. And what you're supposed to do is go to your desk and you're supposed to start doing things on your own, initiate conversations. Is that what they wanted you to do in school? Yes or no? No. They told you sit down and what? Shut up and wait till we tell you what to do.
Somebody comes here and starts talking chemistry. I start listening. Then my mind is going into the chemistry of everything. Then bell rings, somebody comes and talks mathematics. It's a shock for me. Then I'm just beginning to understand 2 plus 2, then suddenly somebody talks English literature. Like this is a hodgepodge. This is not about cultivating a child. This is an extruder, this is a factory where you're busy wanting to produce a product.
They taught children just enough to read, write, and follow instructions, but not enough to challenge anything. And as generations passed, the system worked exactly as intended. It produced disciplined workers, not thinkers. Followers, not leaders. Obedient soldiers, not innovators. A blueprint had been created, not just for Prussia, but for the entire future of global education. And that blueprint, it quietly spread across Europe, then to the United States, then to Canada, then to Asia, then to almost every country on Earth. The world didn't copy Prussia's culture, or values, or art. They copied its control system. And that system is the same one billions of children are still trapped in today, thinking it will lead them to success, when it was never designed for success at all. While Prussia was perfecting its machine of obedience, something else was happening across the world. Something massive, something unstoppable, something that would reshape humanity forever. It was the era between 1760 and 1840, the peak of the Industrial Revolution. For thousands of years, the world ran on farms, handcrafts, and local trade. People grew their own food, made their own goods, worked for themselves, not for someone else. But then machines arrived, and everything changed. What humans created in a month, a machine could create in a single day. What once required skill, now required electricity. What once required artisans, now required factories. But there was a problem. Factories were booming. Machines were ready. Production could skyrocket. But the industrialists had one big issue. Where were the workers? Why would a farmer leave his land, his independence, his family business, to work like a machine, inside a factory, for someone else? Why would a skilled craftsman suddenly accept a life of labor? The answer was simple. They wouldn't. And this created a crisis. Factories needed millions of workers, but people still preferred to earn independently. By now, powerful leaders, governments, and industrial giants had seen the Prussian system, a system that produced obedience, a system that punished questioning, a system that killed creativity and rewarded conformity. So they asked themselves, what if we use this same model to create the perfect factory workforce? And that's exactly what they did. Education became a pipeline from classroom to factory. Countries across Europe, then America, then Canada, then Asia, began constructing school systems that looked almost identical to Prussia's. Classrooms in rows, bells ringing every hour, standardized tests, memorization, no questioning, no creativity. And the purpose wasn't hidden. It wasn't to create leaders. It wasn't to create thinkers. It was to create workers, obedient workers, replaceable workers, predictable workers. Children of farmers became soldiers of factories. Generation after generation of children, from farming families, local shop owners, artisans, were slowly brainwashed. They were taught that independence was risky, that dreams were dangerous, that creativity was useless, that the only respectable path was to get a job in someone else's company. And by the time they graduated, they didn't want to run family farms. They didn't want to start businesses. They didn't want to create. They wanted only one thing: a factory job. The industrialists finally had their labor. The system worked perfectly. Factories got their workers. Governments got control. School systems became production lines. And children? They never realized what had been taken from them. Their imagination, their originality, their freedom to think, their ability to shape their own destiny, all quietly replaced with obedience. While the Industrial Revolution was reshaping economies, another force was reshaping entire civilizations. Across Asia, Africa, the Middle East, Latin America, and even parts of Europe, one thing was common: colonial powers ruled over vast populations with shockingly small armies. So the question was simple: how do you control millions of people when you only have a few thousand soldiers? They found the answer, and it wasn't guns. It wasn't armies. It wasn't fear. It was education. Whether it was the British in Asia and Africa, the French in West Africa, the Spanish in Latin America, the Dutch in Indonesia, the Americans in the Philippines, the Portuguese in Brazil and Goa, they all used the same strategy. They built school systems not to uplift people, but to control them. They didn't need rebels. They needed clerks. They didn't want independent thinkers. They wanted obedient assistants. They didn't want leaders. They wanted a local workforce, trained to serve the empire. And colonial governments openly said it. We must create a class of people who look like the local population, but think like us, serve like us, and obey our rules without question. That wasn't just a policy. That was the blueprint for mental colonization, and it worked across the entire world. In Africa, local chiefs and workers were trained to maintain colonial administration. In the Middle East, school systems were reshaped to fit British and French interests. In Southeast Asia, traditional learning was replaced with education designed for obedience. In Latin America, centuries of indigenous knowledge were overwritten by colonial schooling. In Oceania and the Caribbean, children were taught to admire the colonizer and doubt themselves. And slowly, millions of people across continents began working for the very powers that controlled them. From clerks to translators to soldiers to tax collectors, the colonizers didn't need to rule by force anymore. Local people were unknowingly enforcing the system on their own communities. The deepest wound was not physical, it was psychological. People began to feel inferior in their own land, to doubt their culture, to see local traditions as backward and foreign systems as superior. That was the goal, to disconnect you from who you are, so you become easier to control. And here's the frightening part. Even when the colonizers left, the system didn't. Decades after independence, nothing changed. Countries gained freedom. Flags changed. Borders changed. Governments changed. But the school system, the exam system, the grading system, the classroom structure, the factory-like discipline, all remained exactly the same. The same system designed to create obedient workers was still producing obedient workers. The same system designed to kill creativity was still killing creativity. The same system designed for colonial control was now controlling its own people. And this isn't about one country. Whether you're in the US or India, Canada or Nigeria, Brazil or the UK, Germany or South Africa, Australia or the Philippines. You inherited a system built for someone else's benefit, a system designed centuries ago and still running your life today. If you think everything is fine now, you're about to realize why millions of people around the world still feel trapped, even in 2026. Let me tell you a truth you've probably never noticed. Before you were even born, yes, even before you opened your eyes, your future had already been decided. Your parents, like millions of parents around the world, said only one thing. My child must go to a big, reputed school. School has become a status symbol, not a place of real learning. Our daughter is in a prestigious school. Our son goes to that famous college. That's what parents proudly tell the world. And the moment you learn to speak, they rush to enroll you into a big-name institution and believe their job is done. My child is in a good school. The future is secure. All I need to do is keep paying the fees. But what about you, the child? You enter school with the purest mind on earth. A mind that's curious. A mind that's imaginative. A mind that could become anything. An artist, a scientist, an explorer, an innovator. But the moment you walk into the system, you're given a syllabus, a small, fixed, rigid box. And that box becomes your entire universe. From morning till evening, you memorize those subjects. You worry about tests. You get punished for thinking outside the box. You are rewarded for staying inside it. And slowly, your infinite mind becomes limited. Did your parents ever ask the real questions? What exactly is this school teaching my child? Is this helping them discover who they truly are? Does my child even enjoy what they're learning? No, because they were taught the same belief. Follow the system, trust the system, don't question the system. They think you're being prepared for a bright future, but they don't realize you're being shaped for something else entirely. You are being trained to say just one sentence after graduation. Someone please give me a job. That's the final output of the entire machine. Not creativity, not confidence, not independence, just employment. In many countries, the dream is a government job. In others, it's a corporate job with stability. Different countries, same mindset. Security greater than. Self-dependence. But why? Because the original purpose of the system wasn't to make you independent. It was designed to make you a disciplined, obedient, replaceable worker. A person who follows orders. A person who respects hierarchy. A person who works day and night to fulfill someone else's dream. You spend 20 to 25 years in school and college, and then work for a company founded by someone who probably didn't even finish college. Isn't that ironic? This system doesn't want you to be self-made. If you become self-dependent, you won't obey blindly. You'll ask questions. You'll challenge authority. You'll take risks. You'll think differently. And for the system, that is dangerous. So what's the solution? Condition you so early that you don't even realize you're being conditioned. You enter school too young to understand the trap. And by the time you grow old enough to see what's happening, you're already deep inside it. With loans, responsibilities, routines, fears, expectations. With a life shaped by someone else's blueprint. And you think it's normal. Either you've been conditioned for 15 to 20 years to believe that the system you grew up in is the right path, or life has placed so many responsibilities on your shoulders that you simply cannot afford to question it anymore. Because by the time you're old enough to think for yourself, you're told, now it's time to make money. Now it's time to be practical. Unemployment is rising almost everywhere on Earth. From North America to Europe, Africa to Asia, the pressure on young people is the same. Get a job, earn something, settle down. Your parents aren't wrong. They want you safe. They want stability for you. But the reality is brutal. You spend 15 to 20 years and thousands of dollars or euros, pounds, pesos, rupees on schools, colleges, coaching centers, tuition, textbooks.
As of 2025, total student debt in America is at $1.8 trillion. It's roughly tripled in the last 17 years.
Student loan debt accounts for nearly $2 trillion in the U.S.
So as it turns out, the student loans that I've been paying $1,500 a month for 2 years have a 17% interest rate. So what I thought I've been paying off for all this time, I'm actually, I owe more than what I started off with. I owe $90,000, and I didn't even spend that much on school.
School totals $78,000. The interest is more than the loan.
I'll die with student loan debt. You can't get out of it.
How much in student loans?
So my schooling was $90,000. I'm close to $200,000 in debt with interest.
Taking out student loans was the single-handedly worst mistake I've ever made in my entire life.
People that are 24 years old are opening up these loans and they're going, oh, what have I done?
And in the end, you end up preparing for a job that pays just enough to survive, not to live. And this is not a country problem. It's a global trap.
My daughter's going to a school she can't afford, going $240,000 in debt to get a degree in left-handed puppetry. And I love her enough to say, no, that's dumb. You're not going to do that.
Let me show you how deep it goes. Across the world today, in many regions, 40 to 60% of young people struggle to find stable jobs. University degrees no longer guarantee employment.
The ILO says about 65% of the youth in India are jobless. 65%.
Go further into debt, study things that don't matter to find jobs that don't exist. That sounds like a scam.
Even highly educated youth end up in jobs that have nothing to do with their field.
The assumption is you crack the IIT and you're set for life. A big pay package awaits you. News coming out of the IITs is worrying. In the Bombay campus, 36% students are yet to be placed.
This isn't your fault. This isn't your country's fault. This is the system, working exactly as designed. Here's something almost unbelievable. In many countries, a university graduate, someone who spent years studying engineering, business, science, or medicine, often earns less than people in trades that require no degree.
If you do not have that worthless piece of paper from a local college, you could still succeed to great heights in this country.
For example, in the US and Canada, skilled trades like plumbing, electrical work, or truck driving can earn $8,000 to $15,000 per month.
I'm a female truck driver and I make over 6 figures a year.
Last year was able to make $144,208.
Which is more, sometimes much more, than what young engineers, teachers, nurses, or office workers earn. And this is not an insult to truck drivers or trades workers. Not at all. They work hard and deserve every dollar. But it raises a huge question. Why does a person who studied for 20 years earn less than someone who trained for 12 months? Because the system wasn't designed to reward knowledge. It was designed to reward compliance. The system's true goal. From childhood to adulthood, you're raised to think like this. Someone please hire me. Please give me a stable job. Please give me a paycheck. But you're never taught how to be self-reliant. You're not taught how to control your time. You're not taught how to build wealth. Why? Because if you become independent, you become uncontrollable. You would question your boss, challenge unfair rules, walk away from toxic environments, build your own path instead of following orders. And the system doesn't want that. A world full of self-dependent individuals would collapse the entire structure, built on predictable workers and obedient employees. So instead, the world gives you standardized tests, rigid syllabuses, outdated curricula, pressure, fear, comparison, competition, and finally dependency. By the time you realize what's happening, you're too deep in the maze to escape. So what's the solution? Should we stop going to school? Should we stop going to college? Every day, millions of students around the world, from New York to Nairobi, London to Lagos, Tokyo to Toronto, walk into classrooms believing they're walking toward a better future. Am I saying all of them are wrong? No, you still haven't understood the real point. Let me explain. Society has one invisible rule. Promote something so aggressively that it becomes a lifestyle. normalize it so deeply that people stop questioning it. That's exactly what happened with our global education system. It became so big, so unquestioned, that even parents who feel something is wrong still say, "This is how life works. Just follow the path." But today, we must ask a simple question. Who designed this system, and why? You already know the answer. This system was built during an era when the world needed millions of obedient workers. People who could sit in factories, follow rules, and never ask, "Is this all my life can be?" But today, the world has changed completely. Once upon a time, people were told, if you get into the best schools, if you get a prestigious degree, your future is guaranteed. But look around the world today. In the US, Ivy League graduates struggle to find relevant jobs. In Europe, master's degree holders take gig economy work to survive. In Asia, top engineering graduates face mass unemployment. In Latin America and Africa, youth unemployment reaches 40 to 60%. Even the so-called best students are not being placed. If the top are falling, what does that say about the system? And what did people get after following it? They followed the system faithfully. They gave it their childhood, their time, their energy, their peace. And still, they lived average lives. They died with unfulfilled dreams. They left behind no meaningful legacy for their children. Even today, after following the same system, people are not becoming financially free. People live paycheck to paycheck. People wake up every morning afraid of one email. We regret to inform you, you've been laid off. Fear has become normal. And because of this fear, people tolerate disrespect, follow every order, sacrifice their mental health, and keep working silently, whether they like the work or not. Two doors now exist in front of us. Door 1, deny reality, stay trapped, and push our children into the exact same cycle. Door 2, create a new path, a path where we ask, what do I really want? What am I capable of? What skills can actually change my life? Because the world does not need more graduates who only want a job. The world needs skilled, self-reliant people who can create value. Thank you, truly, for staying with me till the very end. Documentaries like this take days, sometimes weeks, of writing, research, editing, revising, and the only reason it reaches you is because you care enough to watch it. If this documentary made you think, if even one line shifted your perspective, then do one thing for me. Subscribe, hit the like button, and share this with the people you care about. Because awareness grows only when someone like you chooses to pass it forward. This channel is brand new, and every share, every comment, every like pushes this message to someone who needs it. Tell me in the comments what you felt, what hit you the hardest, or what you wanted to cover next. Thank you for watching till the end. Your support truly means everything.